Hey everyone, Dan back with the second half of this British 24-hour ration. First, we're going to take a look at the breakfast. So, according to our menu card and instruction sheet, it recommends biscuits and oatmeal for breakfast. I'm going to throw in the tea. I like tea in the morning as well as coffee, so I think that's a good addition for the breakfast portion. So, we're going to start out. We're going to get some water going. Heated up here. I don't have any of the World War II style fuel heaters right now, so I'm going to use this later Trioxone US fuel bar to heat our water. So the instructions on this say to use like 1/3 the tab, the fuel tab. So we're going to take a little bit of that out. You can see it's like a blue, chalky like tablet in there. Kind of an abomination here. British ration, a US fuel bar, and a vintage German Esprit stove, but hey, it's all military, so we're going to use it and get it going here. So that Esprit, that Trioxone Esprit, has a real strong smell. So we're going to use this plain matchbook. This came inside the ration here, so we'll get that lighted. So that lit right off the bat, and we're going to get that water heated. And I'm going to move this gas mask. This thing's really old. So while that heats, I'm curious to try these biscuits. It says you can use some of them for dinner and breakfast, so I'm curious to see what the flavor is going to be like on them. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save a couple for breakfast. So we'll go ahead and cut this package open. Get that cellophane off. And see what these taste like. Oh, look at that mess tray over here. Set these out. Onto a tray. So these are some pretty thick biscuits. Kind of dry and crumbly. They smell really buttery and lightly sweet, so I think they're going to be, pretty decent. I'm going to go ahead and taste one plain. It is. It's a buttery, just a lightly sweet biscuit. I think this would go good with your oatmeal. So we'll finish those off. I think I'm gonna eat 2 for breakfast, and we'll save these other 3 because I think that would go good with our tinned meat. Heat up some of that Spam, put it on that cracker. I think that'll be pretty good. So I'm gonna let this water heat up so we can get that oatmeal and that 3-part tea mix going, and I'll be back once it's ready. Alright, so we got that water heated up. Word of caution, that Trioxone tab burns extremely hot. I used it to heat up, on that Esprit stove, the hot water, and I went to grab it with this Nomex flight glove. These are fire resistant. And it burnt my finger and thumb right through that glove, no problem. So be careful. Those things heat up a lot faster than some of the other style Esprits I've used that are a little more slow burning. That is heats up very fast, and it burns really hot. I had to put it out because it was going pretty strong. So just a word of caution if you decide to try one of those Trioxone fuel tabs. They burn quite hot, so not too bad on my finger, just a little red, but it didn't feel particularly good at the time. So I got a little bit more water in that canteen. I think we're going to use that for the tea, and use this other one for the oatmeal. I'm not really sure quite how much water to add. It doesn't come with an instruction, at least not on the outside of this little packet. But less is always better. You can always add more. So I got about 1/3 a canteen cup in there. That may be a little much, so Oh, okay. So inside, what they used was just a regular plain instant oatmeal pack. And it says a half cup of hot water. And that's probably what's about in there. Maybe a little less, but we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and dump that in there and see how this turns out. Just some good plain oatmeal in there. So we'll let that reconstitute a little bit. While that's doing that, I think I had a little too much water in there. So it's hard to tell with an MRE, or not MRE, but a canteen cup exactly how much is in there, unless you use a measuring cup, but I don't believe in that for these. I mean, soldiers don't carry measuring cups, so inside here we got our old tea packet. Let's see how that... Okay, so it is sealed. I thought maybe it was loose in there for a minute, so... No instructions on the tea, I don't think. It says... Oh, so it's for a 12-ounce mug of tea. So... there's probably a little more than 12 ounces in here. But, yeah, let me dump a little bit of that out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I dumped out a little bit of that tea. You can always... Stronger tea, to me, is always better anyway. So if I dumped a little too much out, no worries. But I didn't want to have watery tea, so... Go ahead and dump that powder in there. It's an interesting mix of instant tea. But it's supposed to contain sugar, tea, and cream, I think, all in one. It's like a 3-part ration there. A little bit more. Sorry, I didn't tear that all that well, I guess. Okay, so we'll go ahead and stir that up. And I mean, it looks... Color's kind of hard to tell in this light, but it looks like your typical English Earl Grey breakfast tea with some cream and sugar, so I'm going to go ahead and taste that and see what it's like. That is a really good tea. Just smooth, not too strong. I mean, you could make it a little stronger, could add a little less water, but I think it is like an Earl Grey mix. Just real smooth flavor, and it would go really well with these biscuits. That being said, this is a pretty light breakfast. I feel like for a soldier on the move in a combat zone, I mean, there's no protein. I mean, you got some biscuits and some oatmeal and tea. You know, kind of a light start to the day. But I guess if you're going to be on the move, sometimes it's a good thing. You don't want to have a real full, heavy stomach. You know, you might end up vomiting that up later if you get going too much. Especially, you know, if you're thinking about D-Day, June, it's hot, a heavy breakfast. Especially when you're wearing a wool uniform. You know, maybe this lighter breakfast was a good idea. So I had a little too much water to that, but I think this would still be all right. It's just a plain oatmeal. It looks like to have a lot of flavor. There's no like sugar in this MRE you could add, or in this ration that you could add to kind of flavor this up a little bit. But it's decent, just plain oatmeal. If you had maybe something out of one of the 14-man combo rations that the British use, maybe some sugar or maybe some condensed milk or something, you could have added to this to kind of spice it up. But either way, it would have been decent. You know, going well with that biscuits, tea, and oatmeal. Really a very simple first part of your meal for the day. And I'll be back here a little bit later with the lunch portion and dinner portion. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Alright, so we're back with the lunch portion of the British 24-hour pack. And according to our menu, the suggestion is sweet biscuits, soup, and tea, although I think I'm going to save the tea for dinner. So kind of a meager lunch. You know, I figured we'll throw in some gum to finish it off as well. So we're going to get this going here. I'm going to get the another piece of that trioxone tab, although we're going to maybe use a little smaller piece, because I tell you what, that first part, man, that thing was burning like white hot. This stuff is no joke, and you don't need a lot of it. Well, it's a little better. We'll see how that works out. Go ahead and use our venereal disease warning matches here. I can't get that to focus. Those things have no problem. Like, look at that thing going right away. And like I said, it's no joke. It heats this stuff up. No problem. So here's our little block of bouillon soup. I don't know if it's beef or chicken. We'll find out. Get that opened up here. So we got a little block. What does that say? Knorr. So it's made by Knorr. People make like the Knorr pasta sides. And that looks like a... I don't know if that's beef or chicken. Kind of hard to tell. I'm going to drop it in there. Let it start reconstituting. I have no idea how much water to use. But that's a pretty good sized bouillon block. So I'm assuming a decent amount. So while that's heating up, we'll go ahead and try out these sweet biscuits, which are like a sugar wafer type deal. We'll see what flavor these are. Oh, and they're very thin. They're not like the typical sugar wafers you see, where they're more of the, just a little different style there. So that's pretty good. Very light, airy, as you'd expect with a sugar wafer. Just a mild vanilla flavor, but pretty good. I mean, not very substantial once again. I mean, pretty light breakfast portion, pretty light lunch portion to this meal. I mean, granted though, even though it says the Spam or the tinned meat is a all for dinner, I think if you ate this entire can of tinned meat in one sitting, you might have a bit of a bellyache. I mean, most of your tinned meats are pretty greasy, and I don't know if I could even stomach eating a whole can of this in one sitting. So I think if it was me, I might eat some of this for lunch and stuff the can back in my pack for later in the day. But for now, we're just going to stick with the soup. We'll see how that's starting to break down there. Slowly. Kind of taking a little while to reabsorb. So while we're waiting, we'll have another one of these sweet biscuits. So really a kind of meager ration, but still pretty decent. And I did look up, I know in the first part of the video I said I didn't get a tin opener. That is because the Spam cans had the key open, so they didn't come with a can opener. The other meals that had the more standard round cans, those would come with the tin opener. So it's not, they didn't short it. It just is not supposed to be in the menu A because it has the key open can. So that soup, it's starting to break down there. Oop. Knock that thing off. See if I can grab that. I tell you what, let me fix that and I'll be right back. Alright, so we got that resituated, and I think this is just about reconstituted. It does look more like a chicken. I may have had a little too much water. We're going to go ahead and taste this. It looks a little thin. I really wasn't sure. There's no instructions, so go ahead and put this back up here for a sec. See how that soup tastes. Actually, it's not watery as I would have expected. It doesn't look like it's very substantial, but it does have a good chicken flavor. It just tastes like a typical, almost like a ramen noodle type base soup. So, you know, this would have been, I suppose, more, you know, if you're in a cold environment, would have been satisfying to help warm you up. You know, and it would have been not filling, but comforting, I guess, kind of a comfort food. But not a lot of calories, especially for someone on the move, especially thinking about assaulting Normandy. This is what these guys were carrying. Not a whole lot to it. So the soup is good. The sweet biscuits are good. Pardon my chewing. I'm curious to try this violet flavored chewing gum to kind of round off our light lunch here in the British 24-hour. Oh, I launched one there. Kind of shot right out of there. So, violet flavored chewing gum. Okay. I don't know exactly how I would describe that gum. It's lightly sweet. It's not a real strong flavor. And it just kind of has, it does have a, well, I guess, floral type taste to it. But it's good. It's not bad at all. So, that pretty much, that's it. That's all there is to this lunch portion of the British 24-hour. And I'll be back here in a little bit with dinner. Alright, so now I'm back with the final part of this British 24-hour World War II ration, the dinner component, which according to our instruction card is the biscuits, tinned meat, and soup. We saw the soup in the lunch portion. You know, it's still sitting here. I'm not going to remake the other soup. And we saw the tea in the first part, so I'm not going to remake that either. So I'm going to try out the meat with the biscuits. And then we got these boiled sweets, which are kind of, I think, intended as a snack. And same thing with this vitamin-rich chocolate. So we'll try those two things out as well. I've heard no reason to repeat what we've already seen. So let's go ahead and get this tinned meat open. I know I'm not going to eat this whole thing. I'll eat tinned meat Spam once in a while, but now, like I said, the originals, wow, that would have had a tin opener, although I might be getting out the P38 for this. This doesn't really want to open there. Maybe you're supposed to peel it back first. There it is. I was doing that wrong. Oh, and there's that gelatinous fat coming out already. Yum, yum. See if we can get this out here. It's always a... Alright, sorry about that. Camera cut off and I didn't realize it. So what I had done was I had tasted a bit of that tinned meat on the cracker, which I'll do again since we missed that. And that pairs well. You know, it's your typical sweet, salty Spam flavor, which goes well with this, you know, sweet, salty biscuit. You know, the shortening flavor there pairs well with that. And you know, I assume like cracker will probably go pretty well with the soup too. And it does, that chicken flavor goes well with that cracker. So that really pretty much leaves the boiled sweets and the vitamin-rich chocolate to test out, and our other piece of gum. So yeah, it looks like probably, I'm guessing, a lemon-flavored boiled sweet. Let's see, looks like those maybe. It's kind of a little sticky there. So let's see how it is. And yeah, as I expect, it's your typical artificial flavored, fruity, sugary candy. So So I imagine these other ones probably grape, cherry, orange, and maybe an apple flavor there. Those would be a good little sugar pick-me-up maybe in between meals if you're sitting somewhere, have a moment just to pop something in your mouth, get a little sugar, you know, get your blood sugar up in between having time to actually eat something. So probably the same thought behind this vitamin-rich chocolate. Just a little pick-me-up there in between meals. So we'll go ahead and try out that chocolate. I assume originally this probably would have been something similar to like a D-ration type chocolate, you know, something that's just kind of fortified, maybe not necessarily have the best flavor to it. I'm sure this is probably a typical piece of just, you know, candy store confection chocolate, but we'll see what it's like. It is just a typical soft, pretty rich milk chocolate, but a satisfying piece of chocolate. And that'd be a nice little treat to your meal. So lastly, last portion we have to our ration is the Tutti Frutti flavored Candles chewing gum. And I think that'll be a pretty good way to end out this video. So go ahead and get that to peel open anyway. A little trickier than it looks. There we go. So I'll see what that's about. That just has your typical bubblegum type flavor. Yeah, nothing real special there, just a typical bubblegum type chiclet flavored gum. So overall, this has been a pretty decent ration. Not the most substantial, but overall I think it would have gotten you by for those first couple days, you know, if you didn't have access to you know, more substantial rations like the 14-man combo ration or even just regular field kitchen rations. So that's my review of the World War II British 24-hour ration menu A from the guys over at Repo Rations. Questions, comments, leave them below. It's been another fun one here, and I'll be back hopefully soon with a early 90s vintage MRE, as well as some Gulf War era gear and uniforms. So thanks for watching, and God bless the Queen.